And let's hope that this works. Oh, that's... Now, jumping back into some more steampunk, last episode, by goodness, did we get a ton, and I mean a ton of infrastructure up for immersive engineering. And we now have ourselves biodiesel. Quite a bit of it, actually, that has been building up. But is it enough biodiesel? We're going to find out as we start to progress even further today. Now, when I say progress, I mean, well, we are going to be upgrading a couple of tools. One being a saw, which is going to allow us to hopefully harvest entire trees, and also a drill, which will allow us to mine a 3x3. And up to this point, the only method of 3x3 mining has been, well, a very janky way of doing it. And today, well, we are going to have an industrial drill that is going to be pretty sick. And on top of that, I do plan on getting myself a diesel generator up and running to utilize, you know, some of this biodiesel we're producing. Now, keeping with the industrial theme, I want to go ahead and dig a hole down in the middle. This is where we're actually going to place in our diesel generator. And I'm going to have some scaffolding that is going to go around so I can avoid, you know, stepping down into the giant hole, but I also want it to be visible. And so we're going to have like a little bit of an edge running around here, and then some stairs that allow us to get down, and so on and so forth, with it still being quite visible in this whole little factory we're building. So after a little bit of decorating, I think it's coming together. I even added a little like wooden barrel down here with a valve on it to kind of make it look like there's a little secret hatch over here. But yes, there's going to be a big diesel generator that's going to go here. And speaking of that, well, I might as well start building that thing. Now, the diesel generator in itself is a pretty interesting machine. It's going to take about 8 millibuckets of our biodiesel per tick to operate. And in that operation, it is going to be producing about 4,096 RF per tick, or FE per tick, or power per tick, whatever you want to call it. And it is a pretty cool and detailed machine. Like, it literally looks just like an actual diesel generator. So yeah, very detailed, and all these block models look so good. Now, in building this, it does cost a lot of heavy blocks, and it's also going to cost some new things that we haven't really made yet, which is the generator block, and we also need radiator blocks. The radiator blocks actually require buckets of water in order to craft. And the generator blocks, well, they require electrum, which, yeah, is just a bunch of this. Now, it does show insulated MV cable, which I guess MV, yes, is in that realm of electrum. So I guess that kind of makes sense. But normally you just take your electrum wire, which you can use engineer's cutters. I think in our case, it might be okay to do that. We do have plenty of electrum. And instead of using our press, I can just use this as well. But yeah, you can definitely use your create press if you want. And also making wires, you can use another machine. We have a lathe as well that can make wires, but might as well just make them in my inventory since I'm over here. Now, honestly, to be able to build this, it's quite simple. We're going to place down an engineering block, and these two pipes are going to be where our fluid can be piped in, either from the left or right, or even both. And then we're going to have a fluid pipe that runs down the center. Now, just like you see right here, there's only 3 pipes go right here. And then it's just going to be the front that is going to contain these radiator blocks. So just like so, we see the radiator in the whole face is going to be radiator blocks, which kind of makes that a little bit easier to see. And if I go ahead and show the rest of it, it's just a lot of the same repeating pattern. So for example, this is going to be covered here. And I mean, if it makes sense, the next layer probably is going to contain all of those blocks. So there it is. And then I think we also missed the scaffolding. So that's going to go here. And then it's just engineering blocks. Now, the only thing we have to worry about is the direction of the redstone control, which I believe is going to go right here. And the rest of it is just filling this in. So it fills in right here. And then we have a 5 block cross on the top. And that's it. That's the whole generator. I know it's as hard as you thought it was going to be. But As far as actually activating it, we activate it by clicking with our hammer on the face. So if we grab a hammer, we can just click it, and there we go. Bad for the environment. Yes, it is very bad for the environment. Very, very bad. But, well, we are definitely bad for the environment in general. So anyways, now we have ourselves a diesel generator, and we just got to route our diesel to it, and it's going to start generating power, and the power will come off of these nodes right here. So now to turn this on, I've just got to get some diesel piped over there. And to do that, we're going to tap into the bottom of our tank, and I'm just going to route this all the way under here and directly to it from the side. Now, by the way, you can use, for example, the scaffolding to cover up these pipes, by the way, but I do need to put a lever on here, and I'm also going to put a lever on here, and I'm going to give this a redstone signal. That's actually going to turn this off for right now. And then I'm going to place in right here my scaffolding. You can see that kind of makes it look pretty nice, connected right on in. We don't have to worry about this side. But as soon as I give this a redstone signal, it should start sending diesel out of here and into this. Okay. So yes, we now see that diesel has built up, is starting to build up. And all I have to do now is flip the lever. And now we have a diesel generator up and running. But there's a problem. There's a problem with this. This thing always consumes power. It will always stay running unless we control it with redstone. And that means it's going to consistently be drawing 8 millibuckets per tick as it's running. And something else to note is this thing runs off of high voltage power. Now, if we're using the connectors from this mod, from the Create New Age, we don't really have to worry about that particular setup. So yeah, that's not a real big issue. But if you're using immersive engineering, you've got to keep in mind that it is going to have to be stepped down in order to use it in most machines because it is emitting a high voltage current. Oh, this is actually interesting. I was reading in the book and it does say the generator will only run when at least one output can accept energy. So it shouldn't run if there's no power draw. And also to be able to utilize all of the power that this thing generates, you have to be tapped into all 3 of these connectors. And this thing does generate 4,096 RF per tick, I do believe, or FE per tick. And that's going to all come from all 3 of those. And it says it will be split between them if you, for example, do not use all of them. So yeah, that's 100% right on the connection to power because it does have diesel. And I'm assuming it has filled up its internal buffer because whenever I give it a redstone signal and turn it off, it's no longer running. And I have connectors connected on here and they're not leading to anywhere. And so it's not actively running. So nice. So with that, we really don't have to worry about any kind of fancy redstone control. I was thinking I was going to have to do that. Now, at the current moment, I do not have a use for this power just yet. It is going to involve using this power to power more immersive engineering machines. So as of right now, I have nothing to connect it to, so it's going to stay, well, in its current form. But we can now start to work on some other things, right? And that is going to be some new tools that I get my grubby little hands on. And those new tools are going to be the buzzsaw, so I can go ahead and grab that, and the mining drill. All of these, by the way, requiring treated sticks, so you are going to have some creosote in order to even make these, but the mining drill. Now, these are nothing without their, well, heads. Well, technically only one of them needs head. That's going to be the actual drill. The other one is going to need a saw. Now, the best drill that you can make is the steel version of this drill from Immersive, and this does have some durability, which is kind of interesting. And this also needs some fuel, and there's some modifications that we can actually do to these to make them even better. And so, for example, the saw, we can actually make a saw blade as well. And you can see we can eternal stella these. So it actually might be a good idea to do that. You can also carry around more of these individual tools here. Now, back to the engineer's workbench, I can do a few things with this if I take out my blueprints. I can, for example, put my buzzsaw in here. And notice there's a little icon over here. And if you remember, there was a shader that we ended up getting a while ago that was the Taken one. And this Taken shader, by the way, I believe it's a reference to Destiny, but it may not be. But yes, we can put this on our tools and it actually customized the way that it looks, kind of like Call of Duty on their guns and stuff. So if I put this in here, I can then customize it, and now it has its own custom shader, which I think is kind of neat. And I think you might be able to get more of these shaders from trading, but I do know typically they do come from bosses. Yes, it does look like there is a villager that will use a white banner to hopefully trade some of these shaders. Now, to put the drill head onto our drill, we just need to put it into this slot. But there are 3 other slots, and these are actually for kind of like tool augments. And you can put up to 3 of them on here, or kind of diversify. For example, you have the augers, which is going to increase the speed of the drill. There's the tank that's going to increase the overall capacity of, for example, our buzzsaw and drill. And when I say capacity, I mean the amount of fuel that it can hold, because these do take fuel to run. And then we also have the lubrication system, which, for example, will increase the amount of damage apparently that they can do, or it reduces the amount of damage, not that they can do, but the amount of damage that will actually happen to the drill heads. So all of this is pretty nice. Like, these are actually pretty decent. And I did find that I cannot Stella the actual drill head here. So this drill head cannot be eternal stelled, but the saw blade can be eternal stelled. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. And when we pull the drill out, with the heads on there, and for example with the blades on there, you can see now the tools have taken shape, and they actually look like they're supposed to because we've tipped them. Now, I've gone ahead and crafted a few of these things. By the way, this can use seed oil, which is very, very nice. But I am going to put all 3 of them. Oh wait, I guess the buzzsaw can only have 2. So I guess on the buzzsaw, because I'm not super worried about how expensive these blades are, let's just, oh, I guess it cannot accept, augers. So that makes sense. It can't accept augers. And that was kind of interesting. I wasn't actually expecting to get a shader out of that, but I did get a shader. Okay. So just from putting these things in here, I did end up getting this purplish shader, which is kind of nice because I was hoping to get another shader. But yes, let's put all of these in here, and let's equip that shader as well. And we get another shader here. You know what? You can't beat that. Now we have 2 taken shaders. You know what? I'm going to actually put the other taken shader on here, and now we have 2 of the taken shaders. Now, how do we fuel these things? Well, that's a whole thing in itself. Now, see, I believe they can be fueled with ethanol or with diesel here. And I think we can refill them by just right-clicking onto the tank here. And yeah, now both of them are completely filled, as you can see right here. That is perfect. Now, of course, I've got to put this to the test. So let's go find ourselves a tree, a mighty tree at that. And let's hope that this works. Oh, that is something. Okay. That just completely wrecked that entire tree. And then in combination, oh, but we got a visitor. It does pretty decent damage too. But yeah, that just completely wrecks the tree. And it happens so fast, but we've encountered a problem because it probably has some weird detection issues. But there it goes. Yeah, it does work for the most part. It does look like from time to time, though. From time to time, though, we may have to continue chopping trees. So now that we've seen the axe, let's go test out this drill. And I know just the place. I did a little bit of decorating in between episodes. I was just sort of playing around with some ideas. And downstairs, at the very bottom down here, we can go all the way down into what is essentially a diamond mine. But I've turned it into something a little bit more nefarious, a little bit more scary, I guess you could say. And your uranium mine. Yes. Danger, keep out. And I've sort of decorated this where it does look like, well, I tried to use a lot of green stuff to try to make it look like there's uranium down here. And I mean, there is uranium, or like some, nuclear reactive stuff. But all right, let's test out this drill. So this thing should be able to mine in a 3x3, and oh my goodness, it does. Now, does this have any enchants? It doesn't. So as far as like a mining tool goes, this is great, but still I want to be able to fortune things like diamond just to make sure I'm getting the most out of everything, because I'm pretty sure this is not fortuning anything. But I mean, as like far as overall mining goes, this mines through gravel. I mean, it just does a really good job. And it's very fast. Now, it's fast, I think, because we have the mining perk. By default, it is not as fast as you see right here, especially breaking through this deep slate. But the fact that it is a 3x3 tool is fantastic. Oh, I mean, this is something I needed at the beginning of the game. What am I doing with it now? Now, something to definitely note is, well, the fuel consumption. So even with our tank modifier, just 1, you can definitely tell this is eating away at our fuel. And I mean, we are going to be able to break quite a few blocks before it does go empty, but you will end up needing to refill this, or at least I'm going to have to refill it from time to time. Thankfully, I won't have to really use it as much, because I really feel like this drill is more suited for building activities and, well, getting your initial tunnels sort of bored out. Oh, also, I kind of wanted to show this off as well. On layer 2, I did a little decorating there as well. I didn't just leave them all plain. I actually added a little bit of niceties to this. For example, I think this is like the mid-level mine where you could potentially find a bunch of gold, but it's also our path onto our giant rail system that we ended up making. And by the way, look at all those diamonds. I can't just leave these here. I didn't even know these were down here. I need diamonds right now. I'm gonna nab all of these. Now, I've been trying to get a villager to turn into a shader trader. Well, apparently the way that you get this to work is it doesn't actually use a normal banner that you see right here. Instead, what you need to do is take one of your shaders and click on the banner with the shader, and then this guy should eventually turn into a shader trader. Wow, that's a very complicated thing to say. Supposedly. I'm going to let this guy cook for a bit. Now, in the quest, while I'm waiting for that guy to cook, I mean, it's perfect time to talk about something else, and that is the chemical thrower. Now, this thing can use different materials, different chemicals and stuff like that, but this was given in the quest. It's actually very simple to make. But what we can do is we can modify this as well to do a few different things. And one of them is we can turn it into a glorified flamethrower. Now, there are a few attachments. You also have a force nozzle right here, which decreases the spread and increases the range of the chemical thrower. And then we also have the multi-tank, which allows you to have different chemicals that you can switch from. And there's a key bind to be able to switch from those, by the way. So now you might think that there's an igniter for this as well, but you'd be mistaken, because I think one of the best fluids to use in here is actually lava. And if you remember correctly, we do have lava stored up inside of an immersive engineering tank. So I can actually fill this thing up with lava, and I can then use it, well, to maybe attack some mobs. How about some elephants, right? No? I mean, it's really hard to know what to actually attack. How about this thing over here? Oh, goodness. What are you? What are you again? You're a wolf? Okay. Yeah, so this is a glorified flamethrower at this point. And it does use and expend a ton of the fluid, as you see right there. Look how quickly this just gets rid of that lava. But the good part about this is there are expansions for the tanks, and I can go ahead and make that. And there's also a nozzle that, like I said, allows this to be, well, have a much better range on it. And with this tank on here, this is going to increase it by basically another tank. So we go from 2 buckets worth to now 4 buckets worth that we can hold. And then that nozzle is going to make it ever so pronounced. So now this is really noticeable. We can then send this way, way further. And this has a couple of other uses. For example, you can fill it with water and it will extinguish fires, for example, in the nether and things like that. But for what it's worth, this is a pretty decent, like, tick damage weapon. And there are a couple of other fluids that you can use. For example, liquid concrete kind of works like a thing that holds mobs in place. And I do believe that if you get it on yourself, which I don't know if this does affect you, but if you were to have like put this on a machine rack, by the way, by making it a turret, then I believe if it hits you, it allows you to maybe climb up walls. I'm not quite sure. I may have misinterpreted that off of the wiki, but either way, the Kim Thrower is a pretty cool little device. You can see right here. Here's all of the information on it that's listed here. I think it could definitely go, yeah, unnoticed. And looky there, we now have ourselves an outfitter, and this guy is going to trade all kinds of stuff. So it looks like emeralds for this guy will allow us to get, for example, some common shaders. And I'm assuming as it levels up, it's going to be even better. A fashion spree. Ooh, we got some banner patterns. Ooh, I kind of like that windmill banner pattern. But I also want to grab as many of these shaders as I can. That's a really cool banner pattern as well. Oh, I'm running out of emeralds. Okay, let's open up these shaders so we can see what we got. So there's a phoenix one. There's a hawk. Okay, well, let's keep going. Ooh. Wait, we can get better ones? The luck of the draw. Oh, that's pretty cool. We got love them both. And we just got a masterwork shader grab bag. And that gives us the Crimson Lotus. Okay, that was an epic one as well. Boys love boys. We have love them both. Interesting. All kinds of different ones. So there's just a couple of shaders, and now we can just actively buy these shaders off of this guy. Oh, that is fantastic. Now, if I go all the way up here, let's take a look at this real quick. Remember the heavy plated shield, right? That shield is fantastic. Let's go ahead and put it in here because I think it displays these in the best way possible. So there's that one right here, which is like pink and purple. Kind of reminds me of what is it? The Valentine's candies that are absolutely gross tasting. This one is a rare version, and this one's kind of the Phoenix. It's kind of like red and orange. Interesting. Also on the guns, they do look different. And I believe there are some animated shaders, which are pretty sick. This one is an uncommon one. And you can see some of them have like different patterns. Like that one's got a pretty neat pattern on it. And let's go ahead and try, what was the one? We got a Crimson Lotus. This one right here is kind of interesting. I mean, honestly, for a masterworked version, I maybe this looks better on an actual gun. For example, like the chemical thrower. You know what? I actually like that on the chemical thrower. That looks good. On the shield, not necessarily, I don't think, designed for it. And I bet all of these are that way, more or less. I really like that one. The boys love boys. Look at this one. This one I actually kind of like. I like that. Okay. It's like cyan. That's pretty neat. Okay, so all of these have some really cool looking effects. Yeah, you can definitely tell on here now that there are other colors associated with this. Man, I could go through this all day long trying to figure this out. Oh, I love that one. The hawk is actually kind of nice with the black and gray. Very cool. Also, earlier, I completely missed that it said Big Daddy whenever I got the mining drill up to max. Oh, that's such a good reference. I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of things in this mod that are 100% BioShock related. I mean, just look at the skyhook, for example. Now, I think at this point, things are getting very future punk at this point. Not really steampunk anymore. This has definitely gone into the future punk side of things, especially with our drills, our flamethrowers, and our axe and our shield and our equipment. And my God, that is beautiful in the background. But anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this series thus far. And there's still more to come, because I do want to let you know that all of this power down here, I have plans, and the plans technically is for a massive kitchen. Yes, all of this is going to lead up into food production? Question mark? Maybe. Just kind of spoilers for the future to come. And if you are looking forward to that, be sure to click that subscribe button. And if you haven't already, give this video a huge thumbs up. And of course, guys, it's now time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that huge thanks is going to go out to Mo. Thank you so much, by the way, for your amazing support, by the way, over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting me in one of the best ways possible. And of course, guys, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And as always, you know how it goes. Thanks for watching. Bye.